What's with all the floating words, you might be thinking? Ooh. Well, they're not words to describe my future boyfriend, but they are words that could describe your English vocabulary. So keep watching and find out how. Welcome back. My name is Fiona and I'm an English teacher and Cambridge examiner. Today I'm sharing some of my top tips and advice that can help you build, develop, strengthen, grow your English vocabulary and help you to become more loquacious and eloquent. Let's get started. My first and probably most basic piece of advice would be read. Reading can really help to expose you to some new and different vocabulary. Depending on the author, the style of writing, you can encounter lots of very new and interesting words. Some of my favorites to use with English language students are authors like Roald Dahl and J.K. Rowling, because these are books that often people are already familiar with. But I find the language is often quite interesting. They're very clever with how they combine words, and it can really give you an insight into how those words are formed and how you can apply them to other contexts. But really, it doesn't matter what you're reading. It could be magazines, books, articles, blog posts, whatever. It doesn't matter. The most important thing is that you are seeing new vocabulary, you're seeing it in context, and hopefully picking up on some of those new words. Remember, it takes a bit of time between seeing a word and being able to apply it and use it yourself. But through repetition and practice, you will be able to use that vocabulary that you're seeing and reading. Another thing I always recommend for students is to put your device, change the language and put it into English or the language that you're learning. So that could be your phone, your tablet, your computer, whatever, but change the language into English. Doing this helps you kind of see in context a lot of different vocabulary that you might not necessarily see in a textbook or a course book. And it's vocabulary that is useful, that you use day to day, that you see in context, you see on your phone, you see in apps. So that's really an easy switch that you can make. It doesn't affect your day to day. It doesn't cost you anything. You don't even have to dedicate much time to studying it. It's subconscious and just great practice. Do it. If you haven't turned on the subtitles on your TV, on Netflix, on YouTube, on Prime, what are you even doing? Come on, go turn them on right now. Having the subtitles in English is a really, really great way to pick up some new words and even some new expressions. Some shows I would recommend for English language learners are in general things that have shorter episodes. If you're preparing for your B1, I probably wouldn't recommend watching an entire film in English only with the subtitles, because it's quite a lot of language. It could be overwhelming and you might just get bored and not really want to engage or pay attention. But if we have a shorter episode, like of series like Friends or The Big Bang Theory or The Office, these are great. The episodes are normally 20 to 30 minutes long, and the topics are usually a bit lighter. There's maybe a little bit of comedy, and they give you a lot of language that you're able to use day to day. So watching them in English with the subtitles to help you can be a great way to learn some new vocabulary. Try playing some word games. I'm a big fan of word games. I have them on my phone and I sometimes play if I just, have a few moments to spare. I'm thinking games like Wordle, Boggle, Scrabble. I'm sure there are others, but I can't think of what they're called right now. But anyway, these types of games are great. You can buy them in physical version if you want to. You can play with your friends or family or class even. But they're also available online or through apps. So, if you want to play them, they are there, they're available, and they're free. Not only can they help you learn new words, but they also help you to recall some words or vocabulary that maybe you had forgotten. Something that you saw in a course book or that you read in an article once. It helps you to remember that word and then put it into use. Let's get technical for a moment. Word families can be a great way to quickly expand your vocabulary using words that you might already know, just making some small changes or adaptations to them. So, word families are groups of words that are formed using the same base word. And from that base word, we can change it or add a suffix or a prefix sometimes to create a noun, a verb, an adjective, and an adverb. And an example of this could be create. Okay, we have create, creation, creative, and creatively.
And in addition to the create family, you can see we have their cousins. Recreate with the prefix re, meaning to do again. Creator with the or at the end, indicating that it is a person who creates. And creativity, the noun to describe being creative. Here we can see just a few examples of some word families. We have the verb, the noun, the adjective, and the adverb that are all formed using the same base word. Now, don't forget, like we saw in the previous part of the video, there are also cousins to these families. And by that, I could mean like other related words or possibly antonyms. For example, possible and impossible, or impossibility. Inclusive and exclusive, or exclusivity. Successful or unsuccessful. So you can see, simply by learning one key base word, you have expanded your vocabulary already, just by learning that one word and the different changes that you can make to apply it to different situations.
So from that one base word, we've learned or we've practiced 4 new words. So keep this in mind when you are learning new vocabulary. What type of word is it that you've learned, and what is the base form? Because when you know that base form, you can quite easily adapt it to an adjective or an adverb or a verb or a noun, depending on its original base. Really paying attention to collocations can be a good way to grow your vocabulary as well. Collocations are words in English that typically go together, not exclusively. The words can act independently and we can use them in different phrases, in different situations, but collocations are the words that we frequently see together in the same phrase. For example, make a decision. Okay, make and decision, of course, are independent words. We can use them for different things, but make a decision is a very common phrase and is something that you should try and remember and use in your writing and in your speaking. Another example could be pay attention. Again, we have pay, individual word, attention, individual word, but very frequently seen together. So they are a collocation. Learning these kind of fixed phrases, although they're not fixed, but they are common, they're collocations, and can help your vocabulary to expand. Here are some more examples of collocations that you should be able to use and apply at B1 level. So take a look and think, how could I apply these in my own use of language?
Take a break. Let's take a break and grab some coffee. Have a conversation. I had a conversation with my boss about the new project. Give an explanation. Can you give me an explanation of how it works? Keep in touch. Even though we live in different cities, we try to keep in touch. Make progress. The team is working hard to make progress on the project. These are by no means the only examples of collocations. There are a huge number, but these are maybe some examples just to keep in mind for your B1 exam. Now, how can you learn collocations? You might be thinking. I think one of the best ways really is just to consume as much English as possible. Now, that could be through watching television, listening to an audiobook, studying, reading. Consuming as much language as possible will give you the opportunity to see and identify when words commonly occur together. And that tells us that it's a collocation and something we need to keep in mind.
And that brings us to the end of the video for today. So I hope it has been interesting, fascinating, useful, handy. Okay, I'll stop. That's enough vocabulary for one day, I think. But don't forget to like and subscribe to the Home Studies channel. If you're preparing for your B1 exam, consider having a look at some of the courses we have available and get in touch. If you have any comments or ideas, suggestions about how you could build your vocabulary even more, please leave a comment down below. I love to hear from you guys. See you next week. Bye!